The switch box is on the far wall. I pried the cover open and it opens with a rusty squeal. The inside is just as Sophia described. I quickly flipped the switches according to her instruction and the light switches off, leaving nothing but the eerie glow of emergency light. I hit the reset and after a few seconds I hear the quiet hum. The light switches back on and I race back to the main hallway. Detective Gursky stops me as soon as I reach the top of the stairs.
Sorry, kid. There's nothing you can do now.
What do you mean? Detective Gursky glances at the office door as Sophia exits. She looks pretty shaken. Naoki is at her side, supporting her.
You were right about Mr. Rotten. He's dead.
Well, can I go see how he died? What happened?
He was already dead when we got there. Sophia tried to revive him, but...
Naoki stops and glances at Detective Gursky uncomfortably.
I stopped her. It was too risky.
What do you mean?
It's not important.
Detective Gursky approaches Sophia and places a hand on her shoulder.
Sophia, I know you're upset, but we need to contact the police. My phone isn't getting any signal.
All signal is blocked off in this place. Mr. Otten's orders, of course.
Is there a landline I can use then?
In there.
Sophia lets go of Naoki and numbly points at the sturdy door.
I'll show you.
As the two of them leave, Lee May approaches us. Any sign for distress from before has disappeared. Her expression is placid.
He's gone.
Yeah, Naoki, what happened in there?
Well...
Naoki shifts back and forth as if he's not or if he's not sure he should be saying anything.
Mikola checked his pulse, but he was already dead.
You said Sophia tried to revive him.
Yeah, she was going to use CPR, but Detective Gursky stopped her. He said that Mr. Otten looked like he had been poisoned, and she might get poisoned herself if she tried mouth to mouth.
Naoki sighs. He looks pretty shaken himself.
We should tell Aki what happened.
But we don't know where she is.
She's coming.
Lee May turns towards the staircase just as Aki reaches the top.
Hey, what happened? The lights went out for a moment.
Mr. Otten died.
Died? How?
Poisoning, it seems.
Did you read his last moments?
I'm afraid not. Gursky won't let me in there.
What about you? Did you see it?
Aki turns to Naoki and he nods.
I got it.
Good. Then we'll take a look at it later.
Detective Gursky exits the study with Sophia. She appears to have calmed down, but her body still trembles every time she breathes in.
The police are on their way. It's a bit of a drive for them, so we'll have to sit tight until then. I suggest we all wait downstairs. As I don't have any jurisdiction here, it's only a suggestion.
He looks directly
It's
at
the
me.
best option if you want to stay unnoticed.
He turns and leads Sophia down the staircase, helping her with one step at a time. Aki frowns as they leave.
Always the gentleman.
Huh?
Nothing. Anyway, we should probably follow his suggestion and head downstairs. We wouldn't want to get into any more trouble than we already are.
We're here for business. How are we gonna get in trouble? What do you mean by that? Since when were we in trouble?
It's not you.
Aki shoots a glance at him, and the expression on his face makes it obvious she just told him something. I suddenly remembered something that was bothering me earlier. You know, Detective Gursky told me that you guys belong to the government. What does that mean?
It means that Miko shouldn't talk so much.
She heads down the stairs before I can say anything else. Naoki follows meekly, but Lee May stays with me. What's up?
Do you truly want to know?
About you guys? Well, I think I deserve an explanation.
But do you want one?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
We're on parole for crimes past. Gursky is our parole officer.
What? Lee May nods once, looking satisfied with her second exclamation. She turns and heads down the stairs without another word. Parole? They're all convicts? Wait, even Naoki? Aki, I could understand, but Naoki? And what about Lee May? What did she do? I'm really starting to worry about the sort of people I've fallen in with here. Slowly, I descend the staircase, measuring one step after another. Maybe I really shouldn't be, I have asked. When I get to the bottom, Detective Gursky glances at me with mild amusement.
Glad you could make it. Did you take a wrong turn somewhere?
Hey, shut the hell up. No,
You okay?
I'm fine. I look around the room, hoping to change the subject. Where did everyone go?
Miss Millerson wasn't feeling well, so Naoki offered to make some tea for her. They both went to the kitchen. Aki said she had to use the restroom, although I suspect she just wants to look around. And I'm never entirely sure what Lee May is doing. The house is in lockdown right now, so it won't let any of us leave until Sophia unlocks it. I guess you can roam around or do whatever you feel like.
What about Liam? Can he unlock it? Okay. I'm gonna actually point at stuff that interact with. But I hate how I can't see the beginning of it. It's cut off. It's a water fountain. The glass orb is lit by a light bulb, but it works like there is a bowl in the middle. I'd guess that back in one day it held oil for a flame, whatever. At first glance, it appears to be a peach tree, but all the peaches are already light bulbs. That's sort of interesting. Some sort of Chinese calligraphy. Too bad I can't read it. What's the door? That's the door to Mr. Auden's office. I'm fairly certain that I'm not allowed in there. I have to hit done. Detective Gursky stands across the room from me, arms folded across his chest. He appears to be deep in thought, but it's not long before he notices that I'm looking at him.
What?
Nothing.
Well, that's not true.
Nothing. I want to talk about it then. He uncrosses his arm and sighs.
I don't know where you've been all these years or why, but that look in your eyes is still the same.
What look?
The one that says you're already trying to figure everything out. It's like watching someone who just started work on a puzzle. You're digging through the pieces and looking to build a frame, but you don't have much yet.
That much is true. I don't remember seeing you before though.
I doubt you would. We've never met in person. I sure heard a lot about you, though. Both of you.
I suddenly feel my stomach knot up. How much is a lot?
Not enough, apparently. I thought you were dead. We all did.
Yeah, that was kind of the purpose.
Do you have any idea how much work was put into finding you?
Don't even start. I'm not in the mood to hear a lecture from someone who doesn't even know what I'm going through.
You know, back in the day, I couldn't go 10 minutes without hearing your names. Oh, they're so great. What heroes these kids are. Why can't we have such helpful people here? What a joke. When we found her body, the first person they looked for was you, but you were nowhere to be found. At first, they thought you'd been kidnapped. As days passed, they thought maybe you'd been killed. When I saw you yesterday, I thought you had finally come back to do something worthwhile again.
I solved that murder for you, didn't I? What more do you want?
What about your sister's murder? You're the only witness, but you ran away. Why?
It has nothing to do with you. I don't owe you an explanation.
That may be so, but you owe it to your sister, don't you? The case went cold, but maybe if you tell us what you know, we can find her killer.
I'd rather not. I'd rather you don't get involved. This is something I have to deal with on my own.
Sorry, kid. I'm sworn to uphold the law. Even if you don't want me getting involved, I kinda have to.
I know, I sigh and let my hands fall to my side. It's not what you think.
We'll talk about this more later, but I promise that this isn't over. I got a call this morning about my report from yesterday. You've already caused a disturbance with your return.
Oh no, did Schultz find out
Are
already?
you kidding? She was the first.
And that's why I didn't want to tell you who I was. I knew they'd all to find out I was back.
They'd find you eventually. It was only a matter of time.
Am I in trouble?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So I'm part of the government too?
If it weren't for Aki's insistence that you stay with her, I'm sure they'd already have come to take you back.
This is not good. This is so not good. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, I don't know. Why don't you try actually having a backbone this time around?
Listen, I'm sorry, okay? I was 15 and stupid and I shouldn't have run away. But can we just focus on the dead body we got on our hands right now? I kind of feel like we're letting the past get in the way of the present.
The present only exists because of the past, you know.
Gursky studies my face carefully, gauging my reaction. Finally, he sighs and shakes his head.
But I see your point. Figuring out the cause of death for Mr. Otten does take priority right now. I'll be upstairs. Come talk to me if you find out anything.
Can you let me in the room? I got two ways. Go down here. As I enter the hallway, I'm nearly run over by a guy as he rushes out from around the corner.
Whoa! Sorry, dude.
Who the hell are you? He skids to a hole and jumps a few times, holding his hands out in self-defense. Hi? He stops for a moment to look me over.
Never seen you around before. You're not one of Liam's friends, are you?
Not really.
Oh, good. I can't stand Liam's friends. Don't tell him I said that.
Your secret's safe with me, I guess. Who are you?
Kevin, I'm the IT guy. I run all the security here. Got a blip in my system saying the power went out, so I came here to see what happened. Sophia hasn't been answering my calls.
You came here? I thought the house was in lockdown. Kevin taps the temple of his head.
Master code unlocks any door.
Right.
And who are you again?
Con guy. I'm a special investigator.
Wicked. So Big Will is finally gonna bring down the hammer on Liam in his little nightlife.
Big Will? Does he mean William Otten? Actually, Mr. Otten just passed away. Kevin stares at me blankly for a moment, but his expression slowly changes as he processes my statement.
Passed away? As in, dead?
I'm not entirely sure there's another way to interpret that.
Whoa.
Kevin runs his finger through his hair and laughs nervously.
Sorry, man, this is just... Wow, I can't believe it. It's kinda unreal, you know? I just saw him yesterday and he looked fine. Well, as fine as a guy his age can look. Well, as fine as a super paranoid guy his age can look. Well, as fine as a super paranoid guy who drinks a lot at his age.
Yeah, I get it.
So what happened?
I'm not sure, probably a heart attack or something.
That's not a surprise. He kept refusing to see a doctor. Man, Sophia would beg him to at least get a checkup, but he'd have none of that.
Don't quote me on that. Though I can't say for sure if it is or isn't.
Really is a shame, though. He was a good man. Did a lot of good work in the medical world.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Otten Engineering was big into making fake organs and stuff. I hear they saved a lot of lives. Man, dead? Really?
He shakes his head.
Sorry, that's just too weird. I'm still having a hard time believing it.
Kevin blinks a few times as if not sure he's really awake.
I'll be in the security room if you need me. It's the first door on the left here in this hallway.
Okay. As a retina scanner, the door only unlocks if you have clearance. There's a keypad attached to it. I bet I could overwrite the scanner if I knew the right codes. It's an old painting of a silk scroll. It appears to be a forest of some sort. It appears to be a cave of some sort. An ocean, a mountain. Damn, a lot of go here. Oh no. Never mind, not here. The kitchen? The atmosphere in the kitchen is tense. The sound of my footsteps sounds unusually loud on the tile floor. Hey.
Hey.
Naoki welcomes me with a half-hearted smile. Sophia, standing at the other end of the corner, sipping slowly on a cup of tea. Her eyes don't waver from the small cup in her hands. I lean in towards Naoki. Is she okay?
She's feeling better. Still a little shaken up, though. She was crying pretty hard when we found Mr. Otten's body.
Kansei, I
Yes?
hope you don't mind if I ask you something.
No, go ahead.
How did you know that something bad happened to Mr. Otten?
That's...
Naoki, please. I was asking Kansei.
Sorry.
So, how did you know?
Just a lucky guess. I guess you could say I have some sort of sixth sense. I'll give it this.
A sixth sense? As in psychic?
I guess you could call it that.
Can you give me details on how it works?
Well, she actually sounds like she might believe me. I can't really say I just feel things. I get sick sometimes and then I know something bad has happened. Naoki is staring hard at me as if I should keep quiet. I guess just talking about my Kansei is a bad idea. Or Kansei. Still, I feel like she deserves at least a partial truth.
I see. I suppose it's different then.
Different from what?
Many years ago, Mr. Otten experimented with extending the mental capacities of human beings. It's not like what you described, though.
What sort of experiments?
I don't really know much about it. It was a long time ago, before I started working for him. He just mentioned it in passing once, so I thought maybe that had something to do with it. He was terribly drunk at the time, though, so I suppose he might not have even been telling the truth. I'm sorry, I'm jumping to the strangest conclusions here. I must not be in a very good frame of mind right now.
Sophia sighs and shuts her eyes. She looks like she wants to cry again. I'm sorry, you really care about Mr. Otten, didn't you? For a moment, Sophie doesn't respond. Her shoulders shudder as if she takes in a deep breath. Finally, she opens her eyes and speaks in barely more than a whisper.
I don't know what I'm going to do now that he's gone.
I'm so sorry.
Naoki places a gentle hand on Sophia's shoulder. For a moment, I feel strange. She definitely sounds sincere, but something about what she just said sounds off.
I'm sorry. I just really want to find the person who did this. If there's anything you need to know, just ask, okay?
Yeah, sure, thanks. What do you think about Mr. Otten's death?
What do I think? I think it's terrible. I really don't like having to see dead bodies.
Well, I meant, who you think did it?
I really can't say. I don't want to make any judgments.
He glances to the side and begins to absentmindedly fiddle with his fingers. Can you at least give me your thoughts on everyone here?
Well, Liam is pretty angry with his uncle. His eyebrows went down every time he spoke about him. He covered his face when Aki started asking more questions, so he's got something to hide. I'm pretty sure Marissa's hiding something too. Every time she smiles, her eyebrows go up, as if she's worried. After she finished her interview with Mr. Otten, she was even more nervous than before.
Naoki glances at Sophia before leaning into whispers.
Sophia was pretty frustrated when we came, but now she's really anxious. She won't stop pacing back and forth.
And what about Kevin?
You mean that guy with the red hair? I didn't really get to see his face. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. I was just curious. Really, it's good enough that you know this much. I'm kind of impressed.
I've been studying body language for a while now.
Okay, thanks.
Feel free to come talk more if you want.
What do you think? Oh, why do you work for Mr. Otten?
Mr. Otten values my services. I am a trained professional and an excellent personal assistant.
Trained in what? Being a maid? That wasn't really an answer. What I meant was, why did you choose to work for him?
I have personal reasons, but my employment is both legal and morally sound.
I'll come back later.
Of course.
There's a recycling bin in here. It's about half full of glass and plastic bottles. Some spoons and a spatula. They're all a bit dusty. Spoon, I don't know, something spoon with a hole in the bottom. Probably not too useful for serving soup, but perfect for straining pasta. It's just a normal kettle, nothing suspicious about it. It's a dish towel. It's about exciting as a limp towel. There's hot tea in here. Naoki probably made it. The fridge is pretty well stocked, but it's all pre-packaged food. I guess no one cooks around here. How do people say thin though? Well, let's leave. It's this room. You got a chair in the bathroom? Oh, a restroom. Weird. This looks like he built this place with visitors in mind. I wonder what changed. Seriously. There's a space between the frame and the wall, so it's not a two-way mirror. I can't believe I'm checking for this. Old habit die hard, I guess. Sink with a porcelain basin. I guess you're supposed to dry your hands on these towels. They're exactly as. Where exactly am I supposed to put the towel after that? Lamp. The body is made out of porcelain. This chair is sadly not as comfortable as it looks. The bathroom stall with a toilet in it. This place is a lot like a public restroom. I wonder if Mr. Otten used to accept a lot of guests. Soap dispenser, according to the label, it's evergreen scented, but it smells like soap to me. Okay, so we'll go down here. Whoa, guess I found where he keeps all his rich person stuff. What's that? A phoenix, dragon, tiger, a turtle. Lee May's in here? Where? I don't see her. A strange tapestry with some animals on them. There's a turtle and some bird. Not sure what the others two are. You can't see a dragon? Come on. And tiger looks like it. Like a tiger or a zebra. Oh, is that the snake turtle? The 4 Chinese guardians or whatever. It's the motor armor from the Qin dynasty, if the label is to be believed. Looks like it's still in decent conditions, so I guess he worked pretty well for whoever owned it previously. It worked. Let's see. There were a lot of strange markings on this thing. According to the label, it's in, I can't see that, something bone. All I see is Rakol. I guess people try to see the future with this. A miracle bone? I don't know. It's some sort of box. There's no label on it. I guess it's not that important. I'm not sure where that door leads outside, I guess. Either way, it's locked. Lee May is gazing blankly in the direction of the collection of old plates. I approach, but she barely seems to notice my presence. So what? Hey. Lee May blinks slowly and turns to face me. She nods once to acknowledge my presence. I shift my weight from one foot to the next as she stares at me expectantly. What am I even supposed to say? How are you feeling? She stares at me with a mixture of surprise and confusion.
No.
She states it so simply, I almost feel foolish for asking. I guess I was just wondering if you were okay since someone died after all. She tilts her head and looks at me curiously.
Does it bother you?
Does what bother me?
Death.
Yeah, of course it bothered me. I remember he said this in the first game. Let's just do this one. Not really. I guess I'm used to it by now. I still think it's sad, but I'm kind of numb to it. I'm kind of numb to all of it. I stare at my hand and run my fingers slowly together. My palm feels sweaty. What about you? Lee May stares at me curiously as if she doesn't fully understand my question. I mean, are you bothered by death? She fidgets and examines her open palm the same way I just did. Slowly, she rubs together her fingers tip as if she's never seen her hands before. Finally, she speaks.
He was very scared.
Mr. Otten?
Yes. But even though I felt his fear, I knew that I was not scared. I'm not scared, but I still feel scared. Does that mean I'm bothered or not bothered?
I sigh and lean against the door frame. You know, I've always wondered what it would feel like to die. Lee May tilts her head to the side. She looks curious. I mean, I've experienced death, of course, but they're not mine. And somewhere in the back of my mind, every time I do it, I always know it's not mine. I've always wondered, when I die, will I be afraid, or will I think that it's just someone else's death again? Or maybe by the time I die, I'll be so comfortable with it, I won't care, even though I know it's mine. I turn to face Lee May. She's watching my face carefully. I don't know, this wasn't really an answer, huh? I laugh and shrug casually. Honestly, I don't even know why I said any of that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there isn't really an answer. You and I both have to carry other people's emotion. It's tiring and sometimes it's confusing. But I think that if we didn't have these abilities, we'd still be sad when other people are sad and scared when other people are scared. That's just being human. Lee May smiles and takes my hand in hers.
Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. I can talk to you about a lot of stuff. What is everybody feeling right now?
Naoki is scared.
No, I meant the others, not our friends.
Oh. I apologize.
It's fine. I wasn't very specific. Lee May takes a deep breath and closes her eyes again. This time, it takes her a little longer to sort out her thoughts.
Sophia is sad. She feels as if there is no hope, but there is also relief.
Relief again? I feel uneasy about Sophia. Earlier when I asked her if she cared about Mr. Iden, she didn't actually answer me. All she said was that she didn't know what she'd do now that he's gone. I don't know why that bugs me so much, but it seems like she was avoiding my question.
Marissa is scared and disappointed. There's so much emotion inside of her. It's all flowing at the same time. She wants to be happy, but she also feels very guilty. Humans are very complicated.
Lee May nods earnestly, as if she just struck a new idea. I nod in return.
Kevin is uncertain. He does not know what he should be feeling.
He definitely seemed to have trouble believing me when I told him that Mr. Auden died. Denial, I guess.
And Liam, I
What's wrong?
He's with Aki right now. She is manipulating his emotions with her Kansei. I cannot tell what is his and what is not.
Aki. That girl seems to enjoy invading everybody's privacy. It's a wonder that Naoki and Lee May put up with her. Hopefully whatever she's up to will lead to something useful. What did you do before you lived with Aki and Aoki?
I'm not allowed to speak about that.
Is there anything you are allowed to speak about? Lee May closes her eyes and takes a small breath. Her lips move slowly as if she's poring over a list of things she's allowed to share. Finally, she opens her eyes and smiles with a self-satisfied look on her
I'm
face.
authorized to share anything that might aid your investigation.
Whoa, what's with that phrasing? She sounds so formal all of a sudden. What does the calligraphy in the front hallway say?
No dust settles here. It means that this place is quiet and safe from influence of the outside world.
Huh, okay. Do you know much about the artifacts in this place? Lee May nods. Could you maybe tell me about them?
If you wish.
Yeah, I do.
Most are safety charms meant to ward off danger.
I turn to the large tapestry on the wall. What about this? What are these animals?
They are the 4 legendary creatures: tortoise, dragon, phoenix, and tiger.
For some reason, this mythology feels familiar, but I'm not sure why. It's not anything I've ever studied. Do they stand for anything in particular?
Many things. Seasons, directions on the compass, sometimes schools of thought. Overall, they represent balance.
It's weird. They feel kind of familiar, especially the tiger.
The tiger and the dragon are mortal enemies.
Lee reaches out as if to touch the tapestry, but she hesitates and draws her hand
The
back.
dragon represents cunning and intelligence, and the tiger represents raw power and strength. Dragon and tiger, mind and body, they fight each other constantly, but neither can win.
So it's tortoise and phoenix enemies? My stomach tightens up as I look at the tapestry hanging on the wall. An endless fight where neither can win. Lee May watches me carefully. She's trying to decipher my emotions, but I don't even fully understand what I'm feeling.
What bothers you?
I'm not sure. It's probably nothing. Lee May doesn't seem satisfied with my response. No surprise there, since I'm not satisfied either. I don't really have anything else to say though, so our conversation devolves into an uncomfortable silence. I'll talk to you later. She nods. Where's the way out? It's just come on, back left. Museum left, back right. The door slides open to reveal a wide room furnished with with some expensive furniture. Is that a garden outside? If I had to name it, I'd call it the living room, but it doesn't feel very lived in at all.
Okanai, hello.
Hello. She looks happy to see me. Did I do something?
Hey, did something happen? I saw Sophia rush by with that nice boy, but he didn't tell me what was going on.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure if there's a tactful way to put this. Mr. Auden, shouldn't she already know? Thought that Lee May was already talking about how she wants to be happy but sad.
What? Are you kidding?
What would she be sad about if she didn't know the news? No. Marissa stares into my eyes, searching me for a mixture of fear and panic. I stare blankly into the truth of the incident sinks in. Her expression changes slowly as she realizes I'm not lying.
Are you sure? What happened?
I'm not sure.
Did he die of natural causes?
Why would you ask that?
William Otten is not a popular man. His business practices are already reprehensible, and there have been rumors of unethical treatment of some of his test subjects. That's why I came. I was hoping I'd be able to uncover something about what he might be doing.
So you're really just sneaking around trying to dig up some dirt?
It's really not what you think.
Okay then, what?
Nothing.
What sort of illegal things was Mr. Otten doing?
Oh, it's hard to say. Everything's just rumor, you know? It would be awfully irresponsible of me to spread false information. So I really need some hard evidence before I say anything else.
Right, sure. It's obvious that there's something she doesn't want to tell me. I wonder if she's a victim of Mr. Otten's actions in the past. Earlier you talked about some rumors about Liam. What was that about?
Ah, those. Well, recently, word's been going around that Liam Otten is involved in dogfighting.
Whoa, that's a felony.
Not to mention extremely cruel.
Well, I'm glad he chose to draw the line somewhere at least.
I'm fairly certain he was just getting fed up with Liam's antics. It's one thing to dismiss underage drinking, but the heat from Liam's participation in animal cruelty is bad publicity he didn't need. I heard he was planning on cutting Liam from his will completely.
Plenty gun, so he didn't get around to it yet?
As far as I can tell, no. But you'd really have to ask someone more knowledgeable than I.
I don't have any other questions right now.
Sure thing. See you soon.
2,000 channels and what? And still nothing is on? I know there's 2,000 then. The garden is made up of evergreens. I think those flowers are called something. They're a fairly new. They're very low maintenance plants. This door leads back to the hallway, main hallway. The dining room table, it looks like something could host you could host a lot of people, but judging from the dust in the middle, I doubt it's been used for a while. Back to the hallway. Let's go talk to this guy. I tried the door, but it doesn't open. I thought Kevin said he'd be in there. I knock on the door and I hear the sounds of footsteps. The door slides open.
What's up?
You said you'd be here.
Yeah, I did. What do you want?
I crane my neck to peer over Kevin's shoulder. The room behind him looks mostly empty, but I can see the glow of television screens across the wall. Can I come in? Kevin frowns, but he steps aside to let me in.
Sure, why not? Since Mr. Otten hired you, you'd probably be allowed in here anyway.
It doesn't take long to scan the contents of the cold room. There's not much on the tile floor since save for a single chair. A long counter stretches across one wall. It bears a lonely keyboard and mouse. Mounted on the wall are several monitors, all flickering with images of various rooms in the house. At first glance, it appears to be a room meant for high security corporate buildings rather than just a house.
Welcome to my Fortress of Solitude. This is the command center for the entire house.
So you can see everything from here?
Not everything. Mr. Otten's office is strictly off limits. Very private, you know. No one knows what he does in there.
He folds his arms across his chest and scowls.
As if it isn't obvious.
Obvious? What's obvious?
Mr. Otten never likes to be far from his booze. His solution to anything stressful is to drink it away. Of course, he tries to hide it because it's not very professional, But every time he walks out of that room, he reeks of alcohol.
Can you think of any reason that someone would want Mr. Auden dead?
You're kidding, right?
No.
You must be new around here. Mr. Auden's infamous around these parts. He's a ruthless sort of dude. Any little guy tries to start something new, he crushes him. Poaches employees, spreads rumors, heck, he's even brought in the courts multiple times. He'll say that these other companies are infringing on his trademark or something equally stupid. Of course, that's only the stuff we know about. If you ask me, he's got more than just dirty business practices going on. I mean, seriously, look at this place. No one builds a house like this in the middle of nowhere unless he's got something to hide. If he's not doing something illegal, I'll eat my motherboard.
Why do you work for Mr. Auden?
The money. Duh.
But you said he's probably doing illegal things. Doesn't that bother you?
Never actually witnessed him do anything illegal, and maintaining his security system is harmless. So even if he goes down, I can't be held responsible for anything.
In other words, you don't really care where the money comes from as long as you don't get in trouble.
Yeah, pretty much. Why, should I?
I'm starting to think that I'm not going to like anyone in this house. If these are the people Mr. Auden surrounds himself with, I can imagine the sort of people he's trying to hide from. How do you get this job?
Mr. Auden offered it to me.
Really?
Well, yeah, he handpicks everyone who works for him.
How did he find you?
I graduated in the top of my class at a university he funds. He offered this job to me straight out of college.
That's pretty lucky.
Yeah, that's the word for it.
Whoa, am I imagining things, or is he resentful or something? Or about something? Do you know anything about Liam's nightlife?
You mean all the drinking and gambling, or extra stupid stuff?
Well, I was thinking about other things.
Oh, the dog fights then.
You knew about that?
Well, yeah. I'm the reason Mr. Auden found out in the first place. He asked me to track Liam's movements on his phone. Guess he didn't trust him. There's a surprise. Anyway, I noticed Liam was spending more and more time in a corner of town that's not really hot on the usual party clubs, so I did some more digging. Found out that Liam was watching dogfights, and in some cases, funding them himself. Big Will was furious when I told him. When you showed up, I thought he had hired a private investigator to get some proof. I guess it's kind of a moot point now.
That's all for now.
Come by if you want to ask me anything else.
Are you gonna leave the room unlocked? I thought Kevin would appreciate if I poked around all his stuff. I should probably wait for him when he's not around. I'm just looking, I'm not touching nothing. Let's go down to the basement. The door actually open. I guess Sophia hasn't changed my permission from before. Cool. Scan. Turn off the house. Oh, I can turn off the house's power from here. I probably shouldn't though. The emergency light, they're not on right now. Nothing in this box. Whoa, this box is full of papers. I should look through these. What's with all these papers? They all look pretty old. Experiment results. I don't understand what any of these is about. Maybe I should ask someone trustworthy. I take a few of these papers and leave the rest here for now. This box has a lot of old papers with data about some experiments. I already have some of them. I'll leave the room. The rest for now. Rest here for now. Whatever. Someone I trust. I don't trust none of these people. If it's someone he trusts, it'd probably be Gertsky, the one he trusts the most out of. And not him, then Sophia, 'cause she was talking about them. Do you really think Mr. Auden was murdered? Detective Gertsky sighs and rubs his temple slowly.
I don't know, kid. I can't just march in and declare it's a murder without any evidence. For all we know, he committed suicide.
Do you think he killed himself?
Hard to say. His reaction when he saw you certainly was unusual. It's not a level of fear you see in most people. He very likely could have done something foolish in response.
So you think it's my fault?
Now, I never said that. There are a lot of things that might drive someone to suicide. But in the end, it's still the decision of the individual.
Yeah, I know. Gertsky studies my face carefully before he
Back
speaks.
then, didn't you...
Yeah, I did. But I really don't want to talk about it. Are Aki and the others really convicts?
Well, technically, no.
No?
They're not on record as having committed any crimes.
But Lee May said you were their parole officer.
Handler is more like it. I'm supposed to make sure they don't cause any trouble.
He rolls his eyes.
That'll be the day.
More trouble. What sort of stuff have these guys been up to? But what did they even do?
Hustling, mostly. The twins ran a lot of cons. Aki's got some sort of charm about her that makes people trust her. She's really manipulative, and her life is nothing but moral gray. Naoki's a good kid, but he'll do anything his sister tells him to do. And he's a fast learner. He can pick up on pretty much anything. They came to Edgewater 2 years ago and wreaked havoc for a good year before we finally caught them.
He rubs his head slowly as if an old headache has been found its way back to him.
But Aki is Aki. Somehow she managed to cut a deal. Clean records in turn for their special services.
Does he not know they have powers?
So now the government uses them as investigators, spies, or anything else requiring a quick mind and an expendable body.
That's why she said they're a special investigation agency.
It's not an inaccurate statement. And on that note, be careful about what she says. She's not a liar, but she likes to tell misleading truths.
What about Lee May? Well, where did she come from?
I'm afraid that's classified information.
I raise an eyebrow, but I don't press the question. It's obviously not something I want to get involved with. I found a bunch of these papers in the basement. Any idea what they're about? Detective Gursky takes the sheets from me and pages through them carefully. With each page he read, his eyes widen.
He was told to destroy all of this.
What is it?
Old research, very old research that certain people in the government want to pretend never happened.
How do you know this?
It's a long story, kid.
It's not like I have anywhere to go, anywhere to be. He
Let's
sighs.
put it this way. A few years ago, I stumbled upon a lot of things I wasn't supposed to. Specifically, an old experiment that William Otten was involved with. I got in a lot of trouble for what I saw. I was supposed to be erased from the system entirely, but I was given a second chance, transferred to Edgewater, and stop the twins who were running around the city causing trouble.
The system.
They figured if they stuck me here, I'd be out of the way, and I'd have my hands full with the twins. I don't think they expected me to catch them so soon.
So you're the one who caught Aki and Aoki.
I was Aki's arresting officer, yes. We technically never caught Naoki.
He got away? I'm having trouble thinking of Naoki as the sort of guy who could run from the law for very long.
Aki went down fighting so that he could escape. We spent 3 days looking for him and not a thing. Then, less than an hour after she cut a deal, he showed up on our doorstep to turn himself in. Like magic.
He scowls.
Part of me suspects that she planned it all in advance.
Never mind.
All right then.
As I enter the lobby, Aki races down the stairs and nearly runs me over. Whoa,
Oops, sorry, Con.
where have you been?
I was just upstairs with Liam. Oh, don't look at me like that. It's not what you think.
Of course.
For your information, I was just asking Liam about the staff. Did you know that none of Mr. Otten's personal staff are paid?
What? That can't be true. Kevin said that Mr. Otten pays him well.
Well, then Kevin was lying.
And what makes you think Liam was lying? Liam wasn't lying?
Let's just say that he strongly believes it's in his best interest to be truthful.
In other words, you're Kansei.
Got it in one.
So if Mr. Otten doesn't pay anyone, why do they work for him?
Kevin's family owns a small business that's in serious trouble. Mr. Otten pulled a few strings to keep the creditors away, and they'll stay away as long as Kevin works for him. As for Sophia, it seems her husband's heart is failing. Mr. Otten promised to move him to the top of the recipient list for the company's new organ creation project.
Whoa, so basically he gets people to be completely devoted to him by holding on what they love, and in the end he doesn't have to pay a cent.
I have to admit, I'm actually kind of impressed.
This is getting complicated.
If we want to get to the bottom of this, we're going to need another look at the crime scene.
But Detective Gursky's guarding the door. I thought he let even you in.
Oh, I'm the last person he'd let in. But we don't need the real thing. We've got something just as good.
Hello.
Naoki, what are you doing here? I thought you were with
I
Sophia.
called him here, of course.
Aki glances around the room quickly before taking a step forward towards her brother.
This is what my Kansei is actually good for.
What? Telepathy? One-way telepathy? Aki takes Naoki's hand in hers and closes her eyes.
Naoki, show us.
Oh, a recreation? The world around me fades to black for a moment, and I find myself standing in a luxurious office. The world looks a little warmer and softer than I'm used to. It's kind of surreal. On the ground before me is a dead body. Mr. Otten, I presume. Are we in the office?
Of course not. We're still in the main lobby. You're looking at Naoki's memory right now. My Kansei allows me to share the thoughts of whoever I touch.
Okay, so what do we do now?
Have a look around, of course. Does anything look suspicious?
It's a dead body. A fancy scroll with Chinese calligraphy on it. I have no idea what it says. Today's newspaper. Some kind of drink. I wonder what this is. Something where in the real office I'd be able to read Mr. Otten's final moments. Unfortunately, I'm not in the real office. Judging from his skin color, I'd agree with Detective Gursky. This guy was poisoned. Wonder why people instinctively search for their home wherever they see a map. Maybe we're searching for a feeling of belonging. Well, I found Edgewater for what it's worth. A phone that's actually plugged into the wall. I suppose the landline is still more accurate, more secure and reliable. A bunch of shells is just Naoki's memories, so I can't see what's inside them. A lot of books. I think it's an encyclopedia set. Some drawers. Too bad I can't. What? Something. A look inside. Well, it's obviously alcohol. I guess cognac by the color. The The ice in the glass hasn't melted yet, which means Mr. Otten was drinking this right before he died. Maybe the poison is in there. Anything else? I think I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
So, what do you think?
If I had to say, I'd guess the cognac on his desk, the ice wasn't melted, so he poured it recently, and he didn't get to drink very much of it, so it must have been the source of the poison.
That's logical, but how could anyone poison his drink in the first place?
Maybe the killer poisoned the cognac before giving it to Mr. Otten.
If that's the case, then the murderer could be anyone.
So if we found out who gave him the cognac, we'd find the killer.
Then I guess we'll just have to figure out who bought it. Sophia probably knows who's given him gifts lately. I'll stop this part right here. And next time we'll go. It's getting longer than the first. I'll try complete next part.